Hottie.
Hottie?
Party.
And did you bring us some?
Yeah. And there
He
is some
saved
left.
some.
There is some left, yes.
There's massive amounts, I think.
To those people online, You Raise Me Up, Josh Groban, always a cool song. Remind me, I need to talk to you
Yeah.
afterwards.
I gave him a heads up, but I didn't have any info, so
Oh, okay.
she.
Okay. And we have sweet, hot jalapeno peppers.
Didn't know there was such a thing.
Well, Mary Lou made them. Yeah, she says, well, are they hot? Somebody said, well, your face is turning red. I said, yeah, they're hot. And homemade cinnamon bread. Thank you, John.
Oh, wow.
All right. Cool. Yeah. Anybody that doesn't know that we're having a chili feed today, glad to have you here.
Yeah, stay and eat.
Stay and eat.
What? You were going to say something.
Oh, my husband made 2 more loaves of the sourdough bread just this morning. They're still warm. Cheddar jalapeno and a plain.
Ooh, so there's fresh bread in the back to go with said chili.
With that. Ooh.
Yum, yum.
Okay.
Tell your husband we thank him for that.
Yes. Why?
I don't know.
Oh, I think I did this. T-shirts and sweatshirts. Real men don't need instructions.
They'll do it the hard way.
So do it the hard way. If I can't fix it, it must not be broken.
There you go. Okay.
So, I know. All right, and
Speaking
we do have a
of
couple patrons
sweatshirts and
saying-
T-shirts,
Yeah.
remind everybody of our
Oh,
flannel
yeah.
drive.
Oh yeah, we have a flannel drive going on all this month for the homeless. It's starting to get chilly out there. Not that chilly, but
No, different.
yeah, it's different chilly. But flannel is awesome. But anything that's like warm,
Warm.
heavy long sleeve shirts, that shirt right there. So. And other stuff like.
He's not going to put it on camera. Sorry.
Earmuffs, more earmuffs, more earmuffs. What do they call these things? There is a term for them.
That'd be warm, wouldn't it?
Balaclava.
Yes, who said that?
Scott Green!
Yeah.
Oh, the heck.
No.
Hi, Scott.
Oh, it is Scott.
Good to see you. Well, yay. Good to see you.
Anybody that goes online, Scott is almost always online Sunday morning from Florida. But he just moved back.
Just move back, yay.
Phil, are clean, gently used things from home welcome? Or
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's what
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hats and gloves, and I'll have to sort that later because that's not going to work for me.
She had it all folded and it was neat.
We do have a couple patron saints by the name of John Lennon and George Carlin.
George and John.
And John said, reality leaves a lot to the imagination. And George, I put $1 in a change machine. Nothing changed. It's true. It's true. I don't trust stairs. They're always up to something. I need a piano. I used to play the piano by ear, but now I use my hands. That's an old one. Tried to catch fog yesterday. Missed. I told my computer I needed a break. Now it won't stop sending me Kit Kat ads. Okay. I have seen gross intolerance shown in support of tolerance. Courage is the art of being the only one who knows you're scared to death.
I can relate to that one.
Life is for living and hoping and caring and sharing with people you love.
True.
The flowers are nature's jewels with whose wealth she decks her summer beauty. And winter
fall.
and fall.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Flowers are still blooming.
We still have a great deal of our annuals that are just still going nuts. It's just goofy. Thank you very much.
One little freeze, they'd be gone.
Yeah. Well,
For now.
hostas are not doing great.
No.
Comedian Jerry Lewis, if you remember him, is the only entertainer on record to be nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize, 1977. His nomination was parodied, I can't say it, in a November 2003 episode of The Simpsons.
I don't watch The Simpsons.
I did that one.
I'm not a Simpsons fan. Too close to life, too close to family. You know, I can see that anytime.
Yeah. And this joke book, some of them, I mean, it's like they don't make any real sense. I guess you have to be really young to laugh,
Care.
but we'll probably laugh anyway. How is a turtle like a brick?
Slow moving?
Neither one can play the trumpet.
Oh, I would not have guessed that.
I know.
obviously.
I know. That's what I said. How do you make a milkshake?
Shake a cow.
Give a cow a pogo stick. Yeah, same idea. Why do turkeys gobble? They never
they're
learn
pigs.
table manners.
Because they're pigs.
Right idea. Why do skunks like Valentine's Day? They're very sentimental. Oh, yeah. How do ducklings escape their shells? They exit.
Burn that book.
Burn that
Yeah, I know.
book. Whoever said
I know.
that, thank you. Yes. When he's not looking, I'll ditch it. All right, I won't.
What now?
What now? Let me
going
talk
on?
about the calendar really,
Okay.
really, really quick because a couple of changes coming up. Psychic Awakening class, the class is full, by the way. They're moving to Tuesday of this week so the Psychic Awakening class is on Tuesday instead of Thursday of this week. And followers of the way, I'm going to do that on Zoom. So I'll put a Zoom link on the church group. Yeah, see? A lot of people just can't make it, and, you know, with the weather getting darker and
Does
stuff.
that mean they can tune in later?
No, it won't be recorded.
It's just live. Oh, okay.
It won't be recorded. And then lots of stuff happening on the November calendar, so
But
take a look at
one
that.
of the most important things, if you don't want to be laughed at or pointed at, is next Saturday night, daylight savings times go bye-bye. So change your clocks. An
So,
hour back.
with that said, you're sitting on my shirt. With that said, next Sunday, not only the clocks go back, but that's the church's anniversary. 27 years. Wow. So we'll have cake. And Daryl supplied me with some fresh zucchini, so I'll make gluten-free chocolate zucchini cake, and then we have another cake for everybody else. So
Thank you, Daryl.
it'll be fun. Yeah. And I think that's all that's coming up that you need to know about for right now. More we'll keep you informed as things go on. Anything else?
Got your ballots this week. Make sure you vote. In my opinion, it is your civic duty to vote. Whatever speaks from your heart.
We don't care what you vote, we care that you vote. So, there we go. So with that said, let's turn things over to our guest speaker for today.
We have a guest speaker?
We have a guest speaker, and she's got some really cool. Did you have something?
Yeah, the followers of the way this week, that's on Zoom also?
Yes, I'm going to do that on Zoom. I wasn't going to, but I am. I changed my mind. You know, the darker nights, and yeah, let's just do Zoom. Okay.
She hates going out after dark.
I don't blame her.
I don't like it. I don't like it. Anyway, enough of me. Let's do our guest speaker,
Okay.
who has some great information that will really help increase your spirituality. Let's give a big hand to Beth Clark.
Hey, Beth.
I shall anoint you.
I love you guys.
Hopefully that'll work.
Well, hello, everybody. Can you hear me okay? Oh, that's fantastic. Nice to see you, Scott. So let's just take a few deep breaths. And just become aware of your body. where if there's any tension in your body, any areas that are uncomfortable, and just relax and let go and become present in this moment. So, you may say, well, isn't that the start of our meditations? Yes, indeed, it is usually. And I'm putting it up front, though, because I'm going to be talking about body intuition today. And I thought it was only appropriate that we invite our bodies, as well as our mind and our hearts, to be here and to listen. And a month ago, I had a chance to talk to you guys a little bit about the concept of heaven on earth. And some of you were here to listen to that. And one of my messages that I wanted to convey with that, in our process of creating heaven on earth, it was really important that we connect deeply to earth, to Mother Earth, and make that connection so that we can bring in that higher energy. Well, the same's true of our body. If we are spiritual beings having a physical journey, in order to be able to work with and be open to this spiritual energy, it requires us to be deeply connected into our body. And that is a lesson that I've been learning, most of us through our lifetime, right? But for me in particular over the last 20 years. And I'm going to start with a story of something that happened to me that occurred after, for those of you that were here and listened to my journey to Guatemala, it happened maybe a year after that. And I was working in a stressful job. Anybody ever work in a stressful job? Yep. And I had low back pain. I had awful low back pain. And it was really, wiping me out. I'm a single mother, trying to commute, go to work, and I just was in pain, a lot of pain. And I realized that I was commuting, so I started just looking at, maybe I have an old car, pillows for my car. I'm a short person in a desk designed for what I think the average 5'9" or 5'10" male, so I got little stools for my feet and, things for that. And no, not a lot of luck. And I was starting to go to a Unity church at that point. And Louise Hayes was really big. Are a lot of you familiar with Louise Hayes? And lower back pain. That's all about fear and finances. So I started looking at my fear of my finances. And I really thought about that very thoughtfully, because I was in a different financial state than I had been a few years ago. But I really thought I was working with that. And I tried all the affirmation and my back ache did not get better. And I actually started feeling a little bit bad about myself, because just if you trusted and affirmed, the abundance of the universe would come to you. But dang, my back still hurt. And then as luck would have it, there was some healers that came to our church that I was going to at that time. It was a husband and wife team, and they did a healing very similar to what we see Janice and Phil do, where people walk down and they would do a healing on you. Well, when it came to me, I had the husband, and he reached around right to where my back was hurting, and he said, "This is not yours." I thought, whoa. And then he gave me a blessing and cleared my third eye. And I went, whoa, okay. So I distinctly remember driving home and sitting on my bed, crisscross applesauce, and thinking, okay, whose is it? And the first thing that came to mind was my father. And my father had long since passed away. And he had a rough life. He was the youngest of 5 children. His father was an alcoholic, and by the time he came around, unfortunately, that disease had really taken a hold. And so my father did not have much of a father figure, and at a very young age had to go to work and earn money and to bring it home to help support his mother and his family. And I realized that my father was seeing me as a single mother and transferring that to his experience with the pain and anguish that his single mother had. And I looked and, and I could just connect with my father, even though he had passed, and to say, thanks to you, it was so important that I get a college education. I'm going to be okay, and it's thanks to you. So you don't have to be worried for me. And I immediately just felt so much relief and blessing. My back still hurt, but it just was really profound for me that my father was there caring for me in that way. But next, what really did surprise me is I saw my boss at the time. And my boss was a perfectionist. And there is no matter what paper what I wrote or what I gave, it was always redlined. It would come back, critique, critique, critique. And I thrive on positive reinforcement. So to be constantly getting, and to be truthful, he usually did make it better. But I think perhaps mine was good enough. and he always he was looking for every single error and mistake I made. And I saw him. And he was a lawyer by training. and he was also of a Jewish descent. And I saw behind him in this, while I'm sitting on my bed, his father. And behind him, I saw his father. And his father, and his father. And I saw them as like scholars. And they were all so rough, and they were all so hard on each generation. And that generational stuff had been handed down to my boss, that sense of you've got to do better, you've got to learn more, you've got to be perfect. And I went, wow, and my heart really went out for my boss. But I said very firmly, but kindly, but that's your stuff. That's not mine. And I cut that cord and I pushed that away. And immediately my back pain went away. Wow. It was amazing. And what was even more amazing was the next morning, I'm all chipper and I walk in and I'm getting my cup of coffee and all that. And my boss walks in. And he goes, Beth, this is his words, Beth, I don't know what you did. But at 2:00 yesterday afternoon, I got your back pain. My mind was blown. And over the next few months, it would happen that his father got ill. And he talked a lot to me about his father. And everything I saw was very, very true. And he healed his relationship with his father. But it was me working that out that made me present to him in his pain. I think if I had kept his pain, he may not have been able to work through his stuff. But when I gave it to him, I was there compassionately for him, and I was able to support him as his father made his transition. That simple event changed my life. It really did. Because I started to learn that our pain might be bigger than those little boxes that are there, but those boxes were very reasonable. And I started applying it to just about every ache and pain I had in my life because I was curious. I was curious and compassionate is what I learned. And I learned that it was very important that I take care of my physical body. All those changes were very, very important. It was very important that I did look at my finances, in my financial, and the emotional fears that I have. That was valid and very important. And as a matter of fact, in some ways, connecting with my father was a reflection of some of my inherited financial worries. But it was also important for me to take it to a spiritual dimension. Because that's when I learned I was an empath. That was the first time that I was aware of what an empath I was. And I became aware of what like the dual-edged swords of being an empath. But being aware of being an empath is a lesson I'm still always learning. But it is a gift when we learn that we can use that to be there and supportive of another person without taking on their stuff. And so that was that was transformative for me. And like I said, I started applying it for a lot of things. And over the next year, I did have one challenging condition where I really tried to apply this. And I was really getting stumped on it. I was having digestive issues. And for you, those of you know, digestive issues are a little bit like mental health issues. They're the silent things that you don't talk about. You know, there's some like broken bones and things like that people rally behind you, but nobody wants to hear about your digestive system, trust me. And so I did go to a doctor who patted me on the shoulder and said, you know, oh, don't let your boss stress you out. And by the way, I had changed bosses by that point, and I loved my boss, because part of that learning from that last one is I needed a different boss. And so very unhelpful, very condescending. And I didn't go back, and I continued to get worse and worse. And I tried that physical. I changed my diet. I looked what I ate. I really thought through what I ate and how it was impacting me. And there's so many diets out there. You know, related to digestive health, and including getting Deepak Chopra's book on digestive health. And then I worked through the emotional, you know, your guts related to fear and all that. And at some point, I really wasn't getting anywhere, and somebody suggested to me that you do this, what's called like a benefit analysis. You know, it's like, what are you gaining from your disease? And I worked through that, and I realized that one of the things I was gaining was I was improving my diet. It was forcing me to take breaks and pace myself. I had a really busy life, and this really forced me to take the rest I needed to do. It was really, well, to be honest with you, a lot of times after divorce, you might jump into a relationship. Trust me, that was keeping that from happening. And I realized that was like a hidden benefit that I was getting from it. But that still wasn't working, and at some point I just was quiet, and I heard, but now tell me what the blessings are, the real blessings of this. And when I did that, I realized if not for my digestive issues, I probably wouldn't have started such a deep meditative experience. I was meditating every day. I was deepening my meditation, and I was having, as you can tell, I was having absolutely extraordinary intuitive things. It was magical. There was synchronicity in my life that I can't even start to explain these things. It's like my whole spiritual life was opening up. And I realized that my digestive issues were behind that. And to some extent, I was in a state of fasting. And I think that deepened the spiritual. And all of a sudden, I just went into this state of bliss in love for my illness. Because I realized the gift it had given me of setting me so firmly on my spiritual path was such a blessing. And I was there, and I was in that space. And in that space, as some of you know, I sometimes got paid, books and page numbers. I heard, now go back to Deepak Chopra's book. The book that I quite honestly didn't like and thought was very confusing, and go to page like 128 in that book. And I knew to listen to that voice, and I went to the book, and I opened up the book, and I said, I think its voice is wrong this time, because I don't even think there's that many pages in the book. But I go to the end, and I'm going through like the index and all that, and it comes to find out there was a appendix. And in that appendix was a list of Ayurvedic clinics, and I think there were only 2 or 3 Ayurvedic clinics nationwide that were in this book. And one happened to be a half an hour from my home. Wow. And I went, wow. And the next day I called and I made an appointment, and I went to an Ayurvedic clinic, and where the Western medicine was not help, they looked at my, my pulse and my color and everything about me, and gave me a program that led me onto the path of wellness immediately. In and it was rather extraordinary to me, because it was like, it was just where I needed. And what I was learning from this, though, is that you can love your sicknesses and you can love your illnesses, and you can also love the emotions that go with it. You can be like that caring and loving mother and just say, oh, my dear little pain, right? What is it you need? You know, you're afraid. And I think we have a tendency to want to to fight our illnesses, right? We want to attack them, or we want to ignore them, right? But what this approach was telling me is to just love them and to be there for your sickness and your illness. And just like Thich Nhat Hanh always says, let your awareness, your mindfulness, your sacred observer be bigger than that pain and that hurt and that feeling. So you're not going to tell a baby that, be quiet, You're going to say, well, what do you need? You need your diaper changed, right? And it's like, sometimes we got poopy diapers, right? In our life. And so to just be there and present to your illness and say, what is it you need? What is it physically that you need that I can do for you? What is it emotionally, that I can do for you? And then what is the blessing? What is the spiritual understanding and learning that you can get from it? But to do that from a place of accepting everything it is. All your feelings are just valid, but to really deeply listen to the message. And sometimes that message, as we can know from Christopher's journey, is sometimes it doesn't lead to a physical healing, but it always leads to that spiritual healing and that spiritual growth on your journey. And I'll just want to share one more. And this was where I realized the physical relationship and spiritual relationship is because somebody had taught me a chanting to go with each chakra. I think most of you are familiar with chakras, right? The energy center in our body. And that the idea that you could do these chants, like Lama, Rama, with each one, and it awakens the energy in your body. And I did that for about a day. Was doing these chantings, and the next thing, my backache showed up. And I went, oh, okay. But I know my lesson about this backache, and I really went into everything I had learned about my backache. And then the pain went up in my body. And next thing I know, it was pain in my ovaries, but I had learned that lesson, and I went to my stomach, and I became aware as that pain and physical pain in my body was moving up. And in each one, I had worked through certain knowings and lessons and became aware of that, and it changed things very quickly. But suddenly I got to the point where I had this, bronchial issue. And at that point, let me see, I'll try to keep this short, but at that point, it was serious enough that I decided to go to the doctors to see if I had pneumonia or some bronchial thing. And what really made me laugh is at some point he just said, well, sometimes you just get weird allergies. Doctors don't say weird very often. And I knew that there was a message in it. And there, indeed there was, And for me, a lot of that bronchial stuff was unexpressed grief. And there is so many expectations that we're raised with what it looks like to be a mother. And what it, especially being in a new generation of a working mother from a stay-at-home mother, and being divorced and all of that, I had a grief because I had expectations of what my life was going to look like, and it wasn't looking like that. But this learning and the blessing was, oh, but hell, I don't want that life. And it really took took a lot of effort to realize that there was family, what I thought a family should look like, was so ingrained to me that it really took me a while to realize I'm not sure if I'm that kind of mom that, or grandmother or whatever, that wants my kids around all the time. Love them to death. But I liked my working and all that. So anyways, I worked through that, and then next thing you know, I lost my voice, for 2 days. So anyway, you're getting the thing, and after I worked through that, I realized, I said, okay, I'm done, it's through, and I was feeling fine. And I thought that whole process and awakening process was through. And I started feeling tired. I started feeling depressed. I started feeling melancholy. I had no connection at all with the other stuff, though. I just started being in a little bit of a haze. I stopped going out with friends. I just, it was over a week or two, I just didn't feel like doing anything. And I was feeling kind of sorry for myself, and my head hurt. And I sat down one day, and I just goes like, my hand on my head, I just can't see straight.
Oh, no.
And I sat on my glasses. Totally mangled my glasses. And at that point I realized what might be happening. And I went out with my, I made a point to go out with my friends. I taped up my glasses. They were very wonky. And my friends just lifted me up so much. Thank God for friends, right? And they lifted my spirits, and they pointed me to an eyeglass place that might be open that day. And I went to that eyeglass place, and I met the most delightful guy who looked at my hand-woven eyeglass case that I had from Guatemala and said, "Oh, is that from Vietnam?" I went, no, it's from Guatemala. And he said, I've always wanted to go to Vietnam. I just always thought that would be great. I went, well, that's cool. And I said, but it's from Guatemala. And I said, as a matter of fact, my birthday's coming up, and I've been trying to see if I could maybe go back again with my cousin, or to Costa Rica, which was the trip I really wanted, because it was a milestone birthday, and I wanted to do something special for it. And he goes, oh, okay. And so I went back home. And that night I had a dream. And in that dream I was in an airport, and a Vietnam vet came up to me and said, join us. You're going to be late. Catch the plane. And I woke up again. It's like, well, that's weird. And maybe, my discussion had planted that seed with that guy. And I went to work, and the first email, when I opened up my email, was it said Vietnam. It was for a fundraiser for Vietnam. And I later talked to the person who was the HR department and said, oh, I got in such trouble for doing that. He said, I would never do that again, but he did that morning. And I looked, and it was for an organization called Peace Trees Vietnam. And Peace Trees Vietnam was going back into into Vietnam and planting trees in the DMZ. And clearing the landmines and reclaiming the land to the people of Vietnam. The war was long over, but the ravish and what it did to the land was really, really lasting. But it just so happens is that they had a trip, and it was on my birthday. And it just so happened that I got an unexpected inheritance that covered the cost of that trip. And so I got to go to Vietnam for my birthday. And I actually have a birthday card from the People's Party of Vietnam. And I received more roses than I ever did, because that's the birthday tradition there. And so what is that? What is that saying about my body leading me? I could have stayed in that haze, but just being open, it opened me up to that set of synchronicity. And I think the most telling part was I was truly heartbroken, and it was very hard for me to decide to go 2 weeks away from my kids. 1 week maybe. But it was very hard. And at the end of this stay, we planted a tree. And we all gathered around it, and we did a dedication for all the mothers that had to give up their children, and all the children that were divided from their mothers because of the war. And it put my wounding and my pain in such a perspective. Such a perspective. And it was very much the same lesson I had learned in Guatemala. Though I had talked about my experience there, I also got to meet with women there that had their children taken from them and killed during their civil war. And I also saw the ravage, that did on the land. And so my body became a guide for my spiritual opening and to make the world just a little bit bigger than it was for me. We can make our illnesses so much all about us. But as Thich Nhat Hanh says, sometimes let your mindfulness be bigger than that illness. Let it be bigger than that. And don't be surprised if perhaps what you're learning isn't all about you. Maybe it's about something that you can do for your life purpose to make the world a sweeter and better place. So I'd like to give you a chance now and do a meditation. And just take a few deep breaths and become present to your body. In the next breath, become present to your emotions. And on the next breath, become aware that you are a spiritual being. A spiritual being on a physical journey. And in this space, become aware if there's any place in your body that there's a little tension, a little discomfort, a little dis-ease. And it could be an emotional one where you feel a little heaviness. But just become aware of that. It's perhaps a part of your body that is willing to give you a message now. And as you breathe in, wrap compassion around that and move yourself into the role of a sacred observer, compassionately holding this feeling of pain or discomfort or ease or heaviness with tender, tender love. And now you just may want to stay there, because sometimes all it needs to be is acknowledged, and that is enough. But as you hold it as a tender mother, also move into a state of curiosity and see in your physical awareness if there is something physically that you can do for this pain. It might want you to exercise more or rest more. It may want you to dance or sing or eat more vegetables or eat more meat, just whatever. Physically, is there anything that you can do for this part of yourself? And whether you get something or not is just fine. But now as you hold this dear, dear part of yourself, say, emotionally, is there any support you need? And realize your awareness is bigger than whatever that emotion is. And you're in a place to give this the love and compassion. Whatever this dear little part of you requires. And now you go to the spiritual part. And at this point, this part of you becomes your teacher. And just say, is there a message for me? Is there a guidance or a blessing that you are giving me at this point? And it could be a specific message, or it could be that it gives you a symbolic object, something for you to contemplate on. Maybe a flower or a heart or some other symbolic object. Allow yourself to accept whatever gift this spiritual part of you has. And much gratitude. Thank this part of you for giving you these messages. And remind it, I am here for you. Unconditionally, I am here for you. And with this love and blessing, allow yourself to come back into this room and into this time and space, knowing whatever you received in this process is perfect for you. Namaste. So how was that? Does anybody have anything they want to share or talk about? It's a lot to process.
I got Aladdin's lamp.
You know, the thing with Aladdin's lamp is to be really careful or thoughtful about what you wish for. There's anything is there. And it just really feels like you can wish for anything, but you want to be thoughtful on what that is because it's magical and it's there. And you can really get into your heart as to what you truly want. Again, not what you think you should want. Yeah. But it's there for you.
I got an empty box. A cardboard box.
And what do you want to put into that?
Everything that's left in my house.
So you're being given that ability to clear the space, and this is your spiritual gift. You're clearing the space to make some room for something much greater and bigger. And what a perfect time. Diwali is coming up, and that's all about clearing in order to let the light in.
I was given two badges. One was a badge of honor, and I said, no, I don't deserve that. I don't deserve that. And then the other badge was a badge of bravery, and they said, yes, it takes bravery to take this honor.
Wow. Wow. You know, it just reminds me of, I'm thinking about soldiers, right, in the story of Vietnam. And how many times people go, I'm no hero. But ordinary people doing extraordinary things, and you're one of those people, an ordinary person doing extraordinary things. And that is reminding you that.
I saw a keyboard, kind of like a piano, but it had the green background, kind of like behind you there, but each color was vertical bars with a lot of purple, a lot of even brown or so, kind of odd, and other red.
It has all the colors of the rainbow. Isn't that a song? It is. It's just that is what you are giving to other people now. It's all the colors of the rainbow, all that beauty and all that light. And it's just yours for the playing and sharing with others.
I saw this Indian dress, and it was weird. I saw the dress, and then I saw it lined with feathers around the base. And it had a little jewelry on it, but it was like a leather dress. But I don't know why. It's like it's saying, "Come dance with me" or something.
Oh, isn't that beautiful? And I think, Paul, you just keep on getting so much Native American. And the fact that it keeps on showing up in your meditations really suggests that this is part of your spiritual path forward, and that really honoring these Native American traditions is part of what's going to help you grow and how you're going to be able to heal and work with other people. So maybe go to the drumming class.
I was placed in what looked like a drought area, and then tears started coming down, and I collected them. And then when I watered the ground, a harvest came.
And your life's experiences have so helped us all grow. You know, sometimes it's wise ones like you that share and are very real, that bless people in ways that you probably don't even completely realize. And it's that wisdom that you're sharing with others. Hard won, but wisdom.
I got a pyramid.
A pyramid? Yeah. That's that energy around this church. Yeah, that's beautiful.
Let's give Beth a big hand. I thoroughly enjoyed that. Mr. Phil, would you do the center light on your way back up? Thank you. So I have a couple of Bible verses I want to share with you today. Oh my gosh. That one? Not that one. There we go. I showed Phyllis yesterday. There are coffee stains on this page. There's big marks all over everything. Food.
Looks like a little kid doodled on it.
Yeah, it's just a mess. So this is in Colossians chapter 3 and part of verse 4. And there's a lot of stuff going on in that, and a lot of it's confusing. So I'm not going to get into all that. But I want to share with you that we are on a spiritual path. And just like what Beth was talking about today, verse 2, set your mind on things above. Verse 8, put them all aside, anger, wrath, malice, slander, and abusive speech from your mouth. Verse 10, put on the new self. Verse 12, put on a heart of compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience, bearing with one another and forgiving each other, whoever has a complaint against anyone. Just as the Lord forgave you, so also should you. Verse 14, put on love. 15, let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts. Verse 16, let the word of Christ richly dwell within you. Verse 19, do not be embittered. Verse 23, whatever you do, do your work heartily or from your soul. Chapter 4, verse 2, devote yourselves to prayer with an attitude of thanksgiving. Verse 6, let your speech always be with grace. So those are just, if we want to have the life we want to have, that's what we get to do. It's the little things, doing those little things with our heart and our soul connected and our body listening to all of that. That's what grants us that beautiful life. Let's do communion. If you didn't know, there's communion things in the back table back there, individual things. We'll take the little wafer first, if you'd like. You don't have to if you don't want to. And if you join me in prayer, please. Loving Spirit of light, as we take this into our body, help us to recognize our body is a vehicle for your communication to us. Help us to listen. Help us to honor. And help us to trust. And help us to follow through. Thank you. In the name of Jesus, the Ascended One. Amen. That was a little stale. Did you hear it crunch? Oh. Here
It's
we go.
okay. We're a little stale too.
Yeah, there's truth to that. Join us in prayer again, please. Loving Spirit of light, as we drink this in, help us to drink in life. All of it. Even the pain. And help us to be mindful. Bring us wisdom. Bring us insight. Thank you. In the name of Jesus, the Ascended One. Amen.
Thank you. Hi, Erica.
Oh, she's online?
She's online. Yeah.
Hello. I can't see from this page.
No, can't.
Which reminds me, it's a little difficult sometimes when you online have a question about something that we've done here at services, a meditation or something. It's kind of challenging for me to get back and find your answers and stuff. So I apologize if I missed you.
Scott doesn't have that problem now.
No, he doesn't. He's right here.
Volunteer?
Got one. Better
Hurry
of
up so we can have chili.
Thank you, Heavenly Father. God, thank you for this beautiful day. Thank you for these beautiful people here, Lord. Bless them, Lord. Bless them in. And if they can't give God, bless them anyhow. In the wonderful name of the Ascended One, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I don't know. They're laughing about something. I don't know. I want to know. Let's do an energy circuit for the folks online, and then we'll do an energy circle for us that are here, and then go have our chili feed. So you're still connected to Divine Source. You're always connected to Divine Source, but allow yourself to just recognize that and be aware of that. Bring that into your heart space. And from your heart space to your left hand to right hand, and then back to your heart space, and you'll feel that energy building between your hands. This is not your energy. You feel a little resistance there. That is that energy from Divine Source being brought to you. Now you have the right to bring this into your life. And have a great week. And we will see you next time. God bless.